What are hazards and disasters? And how does one avoid a hazard resulting in a disaster? What is the impact of climate change? And what is the relevance of this to the Blue and John Crow Mountains?
A hazard is a risk that may result from human activities such as deforestation or a natural event such as floods. They may cause damage to one's surrounding or injury to people. Not all events are disasters. How we interact with our surroundings will determine whether an event will be a disaster. Take for instance, a flood occurring in the divide between the mountains will not be a disaster because there are no lives and properties along the waterway. A landslide occurring at the back of these houses would be disastrous, with tons of earth and trees collapsing on these houses.
The area has steep slopes and includes the highest point in the island, the Blue Mountain Peak. The soil is highly erodible based on rocks such as shale, in comparison to the limestone geology of most of the island.
This road leads to the only primary school at Halsey. When there's heavy rain, water flows through this channel. Because of the loose soil and shale, such as that boulder, water penetrates the soil and tears it apart. The type of soil at Halsey is mainly shale, which is loose and can easily be penetrated by water. In this research, I looked at areas of high and low clustering of human activity in and around the Blue and John Crow Mountains National Park. Cascade, Millbank, Irishtown, Woodford, and Halsey.
There is high rainfall in the area due to the northeast trade winds and the effect of the high mountains. These factors have resulted in the area being hazard-prone. Residents live with the constant threat of natural disasters. With the impact of climate change, this threat has increased.
We have eventually put up a wall because it break down the little rainfall the other day, yesterday, and it ended up just tear down. So we have to just get man now and put to work and just start dig it out back and try to put up a wall as fast as possible now, just to save the land, like, you know what I mean? So if we don't do that now, we don't have no land. Just keep break away, and it's dangerous even for kids around here. So we have to just get it going. And as far as you can see that, you know, the pile up here saying that the road same way we still have, because no tractor, not man up here with tractor, no backward, nothing. So we have to just try move it with the Jeep.
This landslide is just a mere event. Looking above the landslide, you would see houses. If this landslide was of a greater magnitude, this could have been disastrous. It is important what happens in buffer zone communities, as they have an impact on the Blue and John Crow Mountain National Park. Here, we have an example of multiple hazards in a buffer zone community. Soil slippage, slash and burn, landslide, and across the entire area, we see evidence of deforestation.
There is high rainfall in the area due to the northeast trade winds and the effect of the high mountains.
The geology of Millbank is comprised primarily of Cretaceous sedimentary rocks, like those rocks over there, with volcanic deposits. The limestone acts as a seeding agent. During heavy rains, the water does not seep into the ground, it runs off into the river. If there is enough rain, the entire area will be flooded. Much of the year, the water level may be well below the height of the stream bank. But heavy rains can deliver more water than the stream can carry. Excess water that overflows stream banks and covers adjacent land is considered a flood. These rocks, they are the leftover after the sediments have been washed away from the parent rock.
Planted crops and invasive species are not as good at holding soil and reducing landslide occurrence as natural forest.
What would you say is the main cash crop that farmers use to cultivate in this area of Millbank?
Well, it usually be banana was the first thing and dash it, both two, because the banana is a thing you can sell for every week. Right, it was the main one. Of the banana, and you have the dashi mixed with it. You know, now that the hurricanes they keep coming every year actually and wipe out the banana, people don't even bother with it more than so. You understand? So people turn to dashi. Now the white fly, the fly are taking over the dashi. People are now turning to ginger. In the Rio Grande Valley, every single person has turned to ginger. There has a market for the ginger. Right? So whenever time say you plant for this 9 months or 10 months, or say 11 months or 12 months come, you have amount of ginger that you have, you can reap it, you get your money right on spot.
When fire is used to clear land for farming, it tends to destroy the soil structure, making it more susceptible to landslides. In addition, fires tend to encourage the growth of grasses, including bamboo, and other invasive species which tend to catch fire easily so that the area becomes fire prone. What can we do? Hazards do not have to result in disasters. Steep slopes must remain on the natural forest. Hence, the National Park and Forest Reserve protect the upper mountain ranges. That is the best cover to maintain the soil and ensure good water supply in streams and rivers. Where forests have been degraded or cleared on steep slopes, these areas should be rehabilitated or reforested, preferably with native Jamaican plants, which are resistant to the heavy winds of hurricanes and tropical storms. As managers of the Blue and Jonkra Mountains National Park, the Jamaica Conservation Development Trust has a corps of rangers who, together with the Forestry Department rangers and NEPA environmental officers, discourage people from clearing the natural forest and enforce relevant laws. The JCDT grows native Jamaican tree seedlings in its nurseries and Hollywell and Hagley Gap for rehabilitating degraded forest. Example, areas covered by invasive plant species and reforesting land where the forest has been cleared. Farmers should practice environmentally sustainable methods. Do not bare the soil, but practice minimal tilling. Do not use fires to clear the land. It will quickly lose its nutrients so that the farmer has to move if he cannot afford fertilizers, and this results in further slash and burn farming. Synthetic fertilizers will eventually damage the soil structure, making it more susceptible to erosion. Practice contour planting. Using an A-frame to mark out the contours, and plant along rather than across contours. And also terracing, using living soil barriers, for example, pineapples. Avoid planting root crops and vegetables like scallion and thyme on steep slopes, as these do not hold soil well.
Previously, what we would call the old-time farmers just went to an area, clear the land, and they did the farming. Nowadays, anyway, farmers are more educated in terms of making contours on the land to save this land from slipping away. And through education from organizations like JCDT and even the JAS, people are now more aware of how to farm better on the hillside.
JCDT has been organizing training for farmers, example in Cascade, Woodford, and Millbank, and has been assisting with improving the environmental sustainability of their practices. While hazards might be around us and we might have to live with these hazards, we can avoid these hazards becoming disasters by the choices we make. Let us say yes to hazards and no to disasters.